to It's Happening in Grand Prairie, Texas. We're just so delighted to have you in our viewing audience and hope you will linger with us a while because we are very excited today. We are keeping Grand Prairie beautiful. And we have the people that cause all of these things to happen, and it's not just a statement about Grand Prairie, Texas, but this is a reality that we're facing. And today, with the absence of Tammy Chan, our very magical director of many things in Grand Prairie, and especially that has the oversight of the Keep Grand Prairie Beautiful Commission, we have one of the illustrious commissioners on board today. And Kelly Shaw, welcome to the set, my dear.
Thank you, Ruthie. I'm so happy to be here. I wish Tammy could be with us, but it's very exciting. Happy to put out our message today.
Wonderful. Well, we should explain that Tammy's young son had a small accident skateboarding and broke 2 bones in one arm, and that's a disaster for a young man. So she's at home with him today. So our prayers are with Tammy and her young son.
Definitely.
And let's get to know a little bit more about the real Kelly Shaw.
Okay.
Would you tell us how long you've been in Grand Prairie, what brought you to the commission, and just a little minute or so resume of you?
I've been here 7 years, and I had lived here, I guess, about 5 years. And what really got everything started is I looked out my window one day and I thought the trash truck had picked up my recyclables. I said, no, that's not happening. So I wrote an email to the city and got in touch with Marcella Bell West. And we emailed back and forth. She looked into it. She met with the supervisor, and she found out that one of the recycling trucks, had been out of commission that day. So they were simply using a trash truck. So anyway, in the course of our communication, she said, you need to meet Tammy Chan.
Excellent.
Because she would love to have somebody like you on board. I said, well, I'm a little bit of an activist when it comes to litter. So that's what my focus is at this point. And I'm on the commission, very excited about it. I've adopted a street.
Good.
I volunteer with Tammy on Thursday mornings, try to help her out. She's a very busy lady, as you know.
Yes.
And now we have started an initiative.
All right.
And the new initiative is Grand Prairie is getting tougher on litter. What we're doing is we've shot a PSA, which we will show presently.
All right.
We are getting ready to install billboards around town.
Yes.
We are meeting with the police to just raise their awareness and get it in their heads that littering is ticketable.
Yes.
And what the PSA says is that you can be fined up to $500. So we want to get the word out that we're going to get tougher on it. We've been tough in the past, but we're getting ready to start.
Are you ready to call for your PSA?
I'm ready. I'm ready to show it.
All right. We'll do that immediately.
Great.
Have you ever heard of a styrofoam cup that costs $500? Well, it can if you do this, or if this happens. Littering is against the law, and you can be fined up to $500. Repeat the offense, and you could face a fine of up to $2,000 and 180 days in jail. It gets worse. Discarding trash that weighs more than 5 pounds is considered illegal dumping and carries an even steeper fine. So please, don't litter.
Grand Prairie, be a part of the solution.
Please, don't litter.
Por favor, de no tirar basura.
Grand Prairie, be a part of the solution.
Come on now, don't litter.
Grand Prairie, be a part of the solution.
All of Grand Prairie joins me in saying, please don't litter.
Grand Prairie, be a part of the solution. Grand Prairie, be a part of the solution.
That's great. That's a wonderful, wonderful PSA.
Well, thank you very much. It came to me one day, just how do we get the message across that we need to stop littering? And I think that sometimes when you hit people in the pocketbook,
that'll do it.
That can affect quite a bit of behavior.
Yes.
So we managed to get a wonderful Grand Prairie police officer, Fred Bates, to star in it.
Yes.
And then, as you saw at the end, we got quite a few local dignitaries, yourself included, to get on board with the positive message of Grand Prairie, be a part of the solution. I wanted a positive message that, you know, by cleaning up litter, you are a part of the solution. The environmental problems that we all know about, that helps keeping plastic out of the earth, keeping trash out of the water table. It seems like a small thing when someone throws a cup out the window,
Yes.
but it really adds up. And I do want to say that that was my truck in the PSA with the litter coming out. Of course, I do not litter. Just the opposite. I pick up litter wherever I see it. But we needed a truck because that is one of the main things where we get litter.
Yes.
Is it coming out of the back of the truck?
Yes.
And not only people throwing it out. I saw a guy the other day. He had a cup. He was drinking it. He leaned out his window and threw it into the back of his truck, thinking that was going to be secure.
Oh, yes.
And the PSA shows that it can come out very quickly. And when we were
With a puff of
shooting
wind, it can come out, can't it?
it was funny because when we were shooting it, I had to test to see where it would actually come out. So we went on the highway, and it came out like at 35, 40 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it comes out very easily. And that's one of the main things that we wanted to get across, showing that shot, as well as throwing it out the window.
Well, Tammy did call in and told me this morning, said, I want you to really put the pressure on, because said we're no longer fighting just litter control. Said we want to prevent litter. And I said, is this a new scope that you have for it? She said, that we're going to get to the basics now. Said we're going to really dub this litter prevention, and we're going to put the pressure on. And what does pressure mean? Tell me what she meant by that.
Well, like I said, we're meeting with the police. We're meeting with the judges.
Are you going to change the rules or something?
Well, we're looking at increasing the fines.
Okay, reevaluating all of those.
Yes, and we met with the judges this week, and the prosecutor and two of the members of code enforcement. We are also meeting with all of code enforcement. We're doing this to raise awareness. That is going to be come in the form of ticketing, and you know that's going to cost money. So that's one thing. But also, I think that the PSA and the billboards, which we're going to have 10 around town.
Now tell me a little bit more about the billboard.
Right, we're going to have 10 that reinforce the message of the PSA.
Okay.
It's going to have a picture of Officer Bates with the cup. It's going to mention the fine, and it's going to say Grand Prairie is getting tougher on litter.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So we're almost trying to warn the people in advance.
Yes, you are.
We don't want people to have to pay. But, you know, if they do the crime, they have to pay the fine.
Now, how is this going to relate to our programs that we have in town regarding the youth in schools? The ones in elementary schools, it won't be as effective for them until they get to driving cars and doing all this other. What kind of plans are you making in that direction?
Well, I know that Tammy is working a great deal with the schools, and we just signed on another school to be a clean school that helps. Yes, West Elementary. We met with the principal there, and she was very enthusiastic. So I do believe, as I mentioned to you earlier, that I believe education and awareness are the key to litter prevention. I think that when you make people understand that their one cup adds up and actually creates a much larger problem, then they'll think before they do it. That's the premise.
I understand you want to build a litter mountain.
Well, I do. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, and back in the late 80s, I was on the Charlotte Clean City Committee, which is a mayor-appointed position. And the second year I was on that commission or committee, we actually did the Glad Bag-a-thon.
Yes.
And we collected 8 tons of litter in 4 hours. And we built a mountain of litter, and we had all the press come out. and take pictures of this, because I think that's a great idea, and I'd like to see that done here.
Yeah.
Because that picture shows people how much it does add up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the basis behind all this, really, is to get people more aware, to educate them to the trouble they could possibly get into by doing it, and also just education as far as helping the environment, which we all need to do. And this is a small way that everyone can help.
Now, I know that there are 9 appointed members to your commission.
Yes.
But do you all work with the neighborhood associations in town? We have 26 plus neighborhood associations. Are you advising them of all of this new structure that you're going into or proposing?
Well, I think that's a very good idea. I actually sat in on a brand new neighborhood with Tammy last winter, and it was very exciting. The people, we had like 25 people at the very first meeting. And this is not a neighborhood association, because people were concerned about, paying fees or whatever. It's a community gathering where the people look out for each other. They do cleanups, they do beautification, they do decorations for holiday, all kinds of things. And on top of that, a really great benefit of it is getting to know your neighbors.
Yes.
So it was very exciting to see that, and I actually think that you've given me a very good idea that with this new initiative that we should go to the neighborhood meetings and present this as something that the city is doing. Thank you for that.
Oh, they would need to know that, especially if it's
Right.
going to affect their neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Into paying fines and et cetera and et cetera. And it I know that it brings a sort of a black mark to the city when we have to do this, but it's already a black mark against it if we let the litter go unattended.
Absolutely. And I really feel that there's a psychological effect with litter, especially when people get used to it. And if you grow accustomed to seeing trash in your environment, I believe that's a detriment, and especially for children to have to walk on their way to school and maybe walk through trash. So I believe that it's an uplifting thing to pick up litter and to get the city clean. I just really believe in it, and that's why I'm here today.
I think if we came up with a math slogan about litter, about the minus, the plus, and dividing it, and because when you find someone that has littered 1 or 2 things in a pile, people will come along and they will add to that. They will add to it till that section or that little site becomes sort of a target for, let's just throw litter here, there's already some litter there. And then when you clean it up, you've got that minus thing there that someone else had to come and clean it up. And dividing it into neighborhoods, different people doing different things. So you can get you a litter formula, and I think you can
I like that.
make that very exciting. Anyway, we still want to clean up, because in Grand Prairie, Texas, we began in 1965 really with the CHIC Commission or CHIC Committee, and that was Community Home Improvement Commission, and we were called that. We were very chic or chic, and it started from that, and it's been a long time coming that we had someone that cared enough to really promote it and get to the real basic, and that is litter prevention.
Yes.
We've never faced it from that standpoint. So
well, and as you well know, being with the city and all, litter costs.
yes, it does.
It costs a lot of money, not only psychologically, but out of the budget. And especially in these times, we could be spending our money better, I think, than cleaning up other people's mess.
Yes.
So, and I do have some ideas for other PSAs, and I hope to get those produced as time goes on.
Good.
As part of
As you start printing money a little.
yeah, but that's basically, I'm really a regular person that just wanted to get involved, and I hope that maybe I can be a little bit of an inspiration for other regular people that want to do something, because Tammy's office special projects
Yes.
with the city
Yeah.
can always use help.
Yes.
So that's another thing. If you want to get involved, if you want to adopt a street, that is very helpful. When I got my street, I asked Tammy, what's the worst street you have? And she gave me the worst street, and it's rough doing it sometimes. Yes. But when I ride down that street that was littered before and I see it clean now, it makes me feel so good inside.
Does each commissioner have a team of volunteers that they can call on, or do you all come and talk about things like that? And you have a great interest in trees.
Yes.
How are you going to have time to do your tree research and all of the things you want to do for trees with this brand new No More Litter?
Well, the trees are coming next. Right now, this is my focus, but again, I'm a big environmentalist,
yes.
and I think we need to take action right now, not later. And trees actually absorb pollution
yes.
and put out oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
So it only stands to reason that we don't want to get rid of trees, and where trees are clear cut, this is my concern, and I want to see where trees are clear cut, I want to see those trees put back somewhere.
Well, we're just so fortunate in this town that we have several bona fide arborists, Tammy and Susan Henson, and I know there's a couple of arborists that live here in town that work for Dallas and other communities and commute to their jobs there. So we're blessed in that direction.
Yes.
But if we have another arborist, we'll add you to the list and be very, very happy that we'd have someone to be a tree hugger or a tree lover.
I am a tree hugger because I like my oxygen.
Yes, that's wonderful. With your permission, I'm going to let you rest for a moment. I have a couple of 3 announcements.
Certainly.
Then I'm going to come back to you, and I'm going to let you look out into your camera that says guest on it. And if you'll look out, and I want you to beg the people in Grand Prairie to be with this group as they go through the transition of making plans for strengthening the laws and everything regarding to litter prevention and not just litter control. We're working on both ways, but
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
putting a new emphasis on that. And so with your permission, I have a
Yes.
couple of 3 little community service announcements. And we're just so happy to let you know that as we're out and about in Grand Prairie, people come up and say, look, I saw you on television. Are you that lady? And Carmel of Home Depot helped me in a great way when I was in their place the other day. And she said, well, I've just moved here from Florida, and I am so in love with Grand Prairie, and my husband is also, and he's a historian, and he sees the history happenings in Grand Prairie. So salute to Carmel and her husband for letting us know that you love the city of Grand Prairie, Texas, even though you left Florida in favor of our beautiful, beautiful city. And second, the American Cancer Society has sent us their October release. They have Make Strides While Making Breakfast, Fighting Breast Cancer. That sounds like it's an impossibility, but later on we're going to bring you a program about that. So I wanted you to know that the American Cancer Society is still fighting breast cancer in a mighty way. And next, the Friends of the Grand Prairie Memorial Library is having the most magic clearance sale on July the 18th at the main library at 9 a.m. And would you believe they have said all items are 25 cents each. Please mark this on your calendar if you are looking for some real bargains and helping the wonderful Friends of the Grand Prairie Memorial Library, because all of the funds that they receive from these clearance sales or their book sales goes back into things for the library that the city cannot afford to put in their budget, and it makes it a wonderful way for the library not only to survive, but to grow and prosper. Next, the Grand Prairie Arlington Gem and Mineral Society is having not only their regular annual meeting, but they're having a wonderful show, and there's going to be more later because we have Hal Huey coming on the show. You've found him on our show many times in the past to tell about wonderful things that are going to be happening. And only one other announcement, and that is the date and the time for an October cruise. The fall cruise, which is called the Gopher Cruise, sponsored by the Grand Prairie High School Alumni Association, on the Royal Caribbean Jewel of the Sea, October the 3rd through October the 10th. It's a seven-day cruise, and it is going into Canada and New England up the East Coast. So put that on your calendar. We'll hear more about that a little bit later. And thank you for listening to our wonderful community service announcements. It's always so important because we have many people that are working for free and for the love of Grand Prairie and for the love of their organization, which most of these are 501c3s, and we wanted you to know that it's still happening in Grand Prairie, Texas, where people care enough to do more to raise the standards and the sights of things in Grand Prairie. And now, back to our wonderful, wonderful guest. Kelly, now is your time for your special presentation on your camera.
Hi, I'd just like to invite all the citizens of Grand Prairie to get involved with your community, to beautify it, to clean up litter, to adopt a street, to request to be on one of our wonderful commissions. Anything you can do to help, we would love to have you. Tammy Chan, who I work with and who I love, needs your help. So please do whatever you can. We welcome any participation that you can offer us. So thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it, and have a great day.
And it's been so wonderful to have you on the show, Kelly.
Yes, I've enjoyed it.
And thank you for standing in not only for the commission, Keep Grand Prairie Beautiful, but for Tammy and all of the things that you all mean to the city, because we are recognized statewide and nationally because of the efforts that many, many people give to the city of Grand Prairie, Texas, through their love of a clean and beautiful, and now going to be a really litter almost free city in the city of Grand Prairie, Texas.
Yes, thank
That's
you
wonderful.
very, very much.
Thank you for being here. Okay. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that it's happening in Grand Prairie, Texas, just the way you would like it, and let us know if there's things you can do, and thank you for watching our show.